Hi guys, it's Lisa back with another video for you for Lisa Wise Designs, and today we're starting day 2 on our new mini album that we are calling The Best Year Ever. And where we left off was we made all of our pages, so let's get back started. I showed you in the last video how to make one of your page or page inserts. This is going to be your base page where we're going to start decorating, and there's your pocket on the back. So you needed to go ahead and make 11 more so that you've got 12. I've got my 12 made here. So here are 2 on top that are not decorated. So we're going to decorate those 2 today, January and February, and then I've got March through December done. But don't fret, because this recipe is exactly the same on all the sheets of paper as we go along, and the front of the tag. So the back of the tag doesn't have anything. So we're going to do exactly the same step for January and February so that you can go through and do March through December. And then we'll do a second look at this before the end of the video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go step by step, pretty slow for January. And then for February, I'm probably going to show you some time-saving tips, since you have to do this 12 times to get your January through December. So that's my plan for today. We're going to do the first layer, I like to say, or you know, my friend Brenda always says the petticoat. We're going to do the first layer of the decorating today, and we'll come back and do some embellishing. So the first thing you're going to need is grab that January sheet of paper. We're using Simple Stories Best Year Ever, and we have this sheet of paper for every month. So you can see, if I don't know if you can see these side by side, if you're using this paper pack, they're laid out exactly the same way. So you can see you got a 4x6 card here in the landscape orientation. If you just take a look at this and glance at it, you can see it's the same, just a different theme for every month. So that's why we're going to cut them all exactly the same. So if you bought just the tutorial and using your own paper, you can still use the dimensions that we're going to be cutting. It just might look a little bit different with your paper. You might decide you want more horizontal flaps or more vertical flaps, depending on which paper pack that you went with. But this is what we're going to be doing here today. So let's start with January. Just start at the beginning. And you're going to pull out your tutorial starting on page 7. So this is where we're going to start. It's got a picture of January here, and it's going to show you in the picture, and I'm going to walk through how to dissect this paper. Now, the very first part of this is very important, and it says it right here: do not cut off your branding strip. You know, that's one of the first things we normally do, but in this instance, we are going to use that to our advantage. So you can see on one side, we've got, it's even longer than 6 inch, we've got a usable strip here, and on the back, on the opposite side, there's a usable strip here. And so we're going to take advantage of that today. So the very first cut we're going to make is straight down the center of this paper at 6 inch. We're going to leave that branding strip on. So grab your trimmer and let's do that together. Make some room here on my desk. So one of the first things you might be thinking is, my trimmer is not large enough to cut a 12.5 inch strip. Some of them are, some of them are not. So what I would do, if yours is not, is go ahead and cut as far as you can up to the top, and it may crinkle it a little bit because it might be too large, and then just flip it around. Put it right back there, right in the center on that 6, or you could even use your scissors and then cut the remainder. So let me put this back at the bottom here, line it back up, and just do that small cut, just like that. So now, well, I'm gonna put it back in the right orientation. This is what you should have. We just cut it straight down the middle at 6 inches, all right? So now I'm gonna deal with the right side first. I'm gonna put this out of the way. Like I said, I'm on the page 7, and it shows you step by step the cuts that we're fixing to make. See those blue lines here? And then the yellow line was the first one we did, and then the green lines over here. That's what I'm fixing to walk through. All right, so I'm going to turn my page around. I'm just going to go to the top here. Maybe you can see that better. This is going to be a really easy cut. I'm going to cut off the branding strip that's 1/2 inch, and I'm going to cut off the January, which is a 4x6 card, and they'll leave an 8x6. So this will be 8, this will be 4, and this will be a 1/2. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I got to cut at the bottom. That's just who I am unless I absolutely have to. I don't know why. It's just how I can line things up better. So I'm going to cut off the 1/2 inch. Okay, put this to the side. Then I'm going to cut off the 4x6 card right here. All right, so I've got an 8x6, a 4x6, and then a 1/2 inch by 6 here. So there's the right side. That was easy peasy. Now, don't panic on this side, but we're going to cut kind of in the center of these because we're going to use some of the back of this. So the easy way to remember this one is we're going to cut 3 1/4 from the top, 3 1/4 from the bottom, and what's going to be left in the center is 6 inches because we have this extra 1/2 inch there, if that makes sense. So we're going to have 3 1/4, 3 1/4, so that makes 6 1/2 because we have this, and then we'll have 6 left here. I hope that makes sense to you. So what I'm going to do to make this easy is I'm going to cut 3 1/4 off the top here. So I'm going to have to turn this around in my trimmer. I'm going to go to 3 1/4. I'm going to cut. Now it looks strange, I'm cutting straight in the middle of this, but I'm actually going to be using this back side. See how cute this is? Using that branding strip at the top. I think that's so cute. All right, so there's one. So then I'm going to take my paper. We could cut it at 6, but just to be easy, I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to cut it again at 3 1/4. And it's going to cut strange. It's going to cut a lot of this off. We are going to use this later. And this looks strange too, but just hold on because we're going to use this as a flap that we're going to, we're going to put a score line here and use it as a flap. And we're also going to make this a tab here. So a lot of this will be gone. So that is our first cuts. So we go, let's see, kind of lay this back out just for a visual. This is what it looks like all cut. So this side kind of makes sense maybe because we're not cutting, but these were kind of cut in the middle here. So again, 3 1/4, 6, 3 1/4. Of course, it was cut right down the middle at 6. And then there's the 1/2 inch branding strip. Yeah, the January, the 4x6 card, and the 8x6. Okay. Let's move all this out of the way. So like I said, I'm going to be jumping around to kind of help you walk through why I'm doing these certain things. And then the next time I do February, I'm going to make it where it's a little more not time consuming, where it's better on time. Kind of some time saving tricks is what I was trying to think of. All right, so let's start with the January 4x6 card. I'm going to grab this just scrap piece of paper to put under my flap just so that you can see my flap on camera. So here's that C flap we did. Here's the January. Remember that we did these 1/2 inch round. So let's open this up. This is the We Are Memory Keepers corner rounder, and we use the 1/2 inch. So I just need to corner round the right side of January to match this right here. All right. Just going to corner around that, and then it's going to go just like this. And then when we come back, probably the next video, we're going to do more decorating. But this first time around, I'm going to show you what the recipe is to do January through December, to do this first coat, what I like to say, of decorating. So that's going to be the January flap. Okay, so I can move this now. So you're going to put pictures here. Here is your horizontal picture, 2 vertical pictures, and I like to use vertical flaps because most of us take pictures with our phones now, and a lot of us hold it in that vertical position. So let me show you on this finished one. See, here's January. We're going to come back and do this little piece here. So see, this is where your pictures would go. Now you do not have these cards, these index cards put here. I'm just showing you this just so you can see. And then now we're going to do this back piece here. And you can see it's cut into 2 because here is the pocket. All right, so here, this Hello Winter piece. This was the 6x8. What we're going to do is we're going to cut the right hand side at 1 1/4 inch. And again, I'm starting on page 7, but see, I think I have worked my way around now to page 8. Okay, so 1 1/4, because my trimmer actually has where I can cut up to 1 1/2 inches on the right side. But just make sure you're cutting on the right side, even if you need to turn your paper, at 1 1/4, just like that. Okay, now these are going to go here and then here, but you see how we corner rounded everything. So we're going to corner round the right hand side on both of these pieces of paper. Right? So see, once you kind of understand and know which sides that you need to corner round, then the next time we do it, it'll be easy peasy. You go, oh, okay, that makes sense. I need to go ahead and do that on the right hand side. So that is what that looks like. So see, here's your corner rounding here. So I'm just going to open my flaps up, and I'm going to center this side to side, top to bottom, between my two flaps here. And I am not using any type of ink to ink the edges on this particular project. I just didn't think it needed it. And it is time saving too, but I just didn't think it needed it on this particular project. It's a lot more vibrant colors, and I didn't want to dull those down. All right, so there's that one. So I'm going to close the D flap here, and then this is going to go onto the side here so that you still have your pocket. And that, if you're looking at your page, see how it continues and carries over here. So as we're going through and cutting things up, just be sure not to throw any pattern paper away, even if it's a 1/4 inch sliver, because we are going to be using as much of this paper as we possibly can. I tried to really stretch the paper pack to use as much as we could. All right, so here's this one. Isn't that cute? All right, so picture, 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 and then here. And then pocket, we're going to come back and do what goes into the pocket. For now, we're going to flip this over. So see, you have a pocket here on the back, and we're going to do a flap here on the top. So here's my other little pieces here. All right, so this one, like I said, we're going to flip around and use this. This is going to go here on your pocket, but remember your pocket is corner rounded on this one side. So I'm going to grab my corner rounder and just do the bottom left-hand side, because that's the only one that was corner rounded on the base, like so. And I'm just taking this and I am centering it on the pocket, you know, top to bottom, left to right, just like so. So next time when you see this piece of paper in February, you'll know, okay, I'm just going to corner round just one side of that on the bottom left, because I like to do all my corner rounding, is that a verb? At the same time if I can. So now this piece, let me put these two out of the way for now. So this funny looking piece, we're going to make a tab here, and we're going to make a score line here. So I'm going to grab my scoreboard. And like I say, once you have dissected one of these months and put it together, they all are going to be exactly the same, because the paper pack is the same. And if you're not using this paper pack, you can just use the same dimensions to do this. Okay, so I want a score line right here at 3/4 inch. So listen really close to that one, 3/4 inch, because usually we do 1/2 inch or 1 inch or 1/4 inch. This is a little unusual, but this is 3/4 inch, so almost 1 inch. And so I'm going to turn my paper this way because I want it here at the top at 3/4 inch. So it's a pretty big score line, right? Oh yeah, the sunshine really caught that one up. Okay, so that's all we have to do here. Oops. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and put my tape on here. Since this is a flap, I'm going to use my double-sided tape, and I'm just going to put a piece of tape. I'm using 3/8 inch tape near the top, as close to the cut edge as I can. Right there, just really near the top. It's away from the score line, all the way across. Okay, that's all I need to do there. All right, and then we're going to fold on the score line. Okay, so now we have a flap that we're going to put down on our project. So we could leave it like that, but I wanted to pretty it up a bit, so I'll show you the finished one here. So see, here's the pocket, and this is what we just did. Here's the flap, but see, now we're going to make this tab, and then here's that long 3/4 of an inch. And later on, we will come back and we will do some more decorating here. But this is where we're going with that. Okay. So grab your punch board. We're going to be using this throughout the project. Now never fear, like I said in the last video, if you don't have this or don't want to pick it up, you do have templates in your kit that look like this. And on the second time, when I do February, I will use the templates. This time I'm going to use the tab punch board. All right, so in January, I would like a little tab on my left-hand side, okay? Remember, this is what your tab punch board looks like. I'm going to take this little peg and put it on the left-hand side here at the bottom, okay? And that's what I'm going to butt my paper up to. I want it here on the left-hand side, so I'm going to flip my paper over so that I put that side into the tab punch board and just punch. See, it gives me that really cute tab punch. Now I can move these little pegs out of the way into its little home spot. Flip it over, so now I've got my punch here, and I'm going to line it up right here on the ends. It tells you here's a small tab, a medium, and a large. And I like the medium size, so I'm just going to line up that little crooked edge that we just cut with the little M size and just punch. Okay? And that gives me a medium tab. So now I have to cut all of this away. So I think I said this in my other video. You can put it in your trimmer and cut it at 3/4 of an inch and it will cut that off. Or you can do that with the machine. It does give you that option. So this time around, I'm going to put it in the machine in the back and butt it up against this edge here. And you can see we're going to cut from here to here. And I like to put my blade in to the spot where the tab is empty and then just pull to the right. I just find that to be the easiest thing to do. Okay. Now, be sure to hold on to this. I'm just going to put that over there with my scraps. Isn't that easy peasy? So cute. I said the next time we would use the template. See, I got my templates cut out, and so this is what this one would look like here. And see how this kind of lines up, and you would just trace it and cut it out. Right, but we will do that for February. Now back here to the project. Fold this back down, and so see how this is going then to kind of line up at the top here. So what I'm lining up is the edges. See the edge of this pattern paper and this pattern paper. I just kind of want that to kind of be lined up. Not perfectly, but kind of. I've got a bigger area or a bigger reveal or edge on the back page, which I'm fine with. So it's not really 1/8 of an inch. It's more like 1/4 of an inch all the way around. So the one last thing I want to do is I want this top right hand side to be corner rounded to match this. So I'm going to go back to my corner rounder and do that. So all these steps are super easy. It's just thinking through and say, okay, I know before I glue this down, just kind of look around and see which ones I want to corner round. All right. So I'm going to take off the tape liner. And I'm kind of holding it at the top with my finger so it doesn't stick down prematurely. And you're just kind of putting this into place. Kind of, it's hard for me to get over it without the camera seeing it. But you kind of want this to be straight at the top. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to burnish this into place. Open it up, kind of burnish this down. So later on, when you want to put pictures in here, you'll come back and you could put a horizontal picture just like this. And see, you got this tiny edge. You can just tuck that in so it just looks seamless. And you can just butt that up there to the top and put a picture. Isn't that cute? And then some of these leftovers we're going to have, we can put a really decorative strip here and put another picture and some more decorations up there. But that's kind of where that's going to go. So now we need something to hold this flap down. So we need to make our tag. All right, so we've got this part done, this done. We need to make our tag. So if you picked up the kit, you'll have 12 of these tags, and they are 3 1/8 wide by 6 1/4 long. So if you're making your own tags, that's what you would want to cut. And this is a 1/2 inch down in the center. All right, so you need one of those. Now let's take a look at the paper pad that came in your pack for the first time. This 6x8 paper pad, so cute. There is paper in here where you'll get a 3x4 card out of it for every month. So let's find that. Here we go. So see this paper? You get 4 cards in there. So if you cut them apart, you have 3x4 cards. So there's 3 sheets in here, like this. So go ahead, and I would just cut them all out at one time. So you got 12 3x4 cards. All right. So that's where these came from. I'll put my February one back. Here's my January. Okay. So from the bottom, I'm going to make a mark at 3/4 of an inch. So 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. I just made a pencil mark. And that is where I'm going to put this card here. And then I want there to be a small border here. So when we were cutting all of this apart, remember we had, these are our leftovers. So this was that branding strip on the right hand side of the paper. So it's 6 inches long. So if we cut it in half, it'll be 3 inches on each side. And this is a 3x4 card, so we'll go top and bottom. So like I said, in February, now you'll kind of know, okay, this branding strip that's 6 inches long, while I've got my trimmer out, I can go ahead and cut that in half at 3 inches. Just kind of save you a little bit of time as you're going through. But you kind of need to know where you're going in order for it to make sense, right? So this is what it's going to look like here. And then you have this here, and then this here, like that. So common sense, or crafty sense, I guess, would tell you to kind of start at the bottom. Well, I have done that before, and if you ever get off on this little piece, when you put the next piece butted up to it, it's very easy, I guess, to get it crooked. So the way I do this is I made that 3/4 of an inch pencil mark, and that's where the big 3x4 card is going to reside. And I find it easier to center this from side to side than these little pieces side to side. I don't know why it's easier to do that. Maybe you just got more real estate to work with to do. But if you put that first little one down and you're off a hair, and then you butt this big card up against it, it's very noticeable if you're off. I hope that makes sense and helps somebody. So I started the card at 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. So now I'm going to go back and put these strips here at the top and the bottom, just like that. So when you're doing the rest of these months by yourself, you're just going to do the exact same thing. You're always going to have a branding strip. You're always going to have these cards. And so you just put them together the exact same way. And you can just, once you've done 1 month or 2 with me, you can just turn your TV on and watch a movie you've been wanting to see, or listen. I like to listen to musicals or movies I've seen before when I'm crafting, so I don't have to pay too close attention. And then just make all your tags, all of your pages like this at once. Okay, so here's January. So now this will go in the pocket and hold your flap down. And there's your January. And this is what we have left over. So, like I say, you might want to have some baggies or something lying around that you want to keep all your leftovers, or just put them together and then you know that this is January and put February and just keep them in order, because we are going to go back to these and use these little leftovers on tomorrow's video. Okay, but because I needed to stay very organized since I'm teaching this, I actually made baggies for every month to put all my leftovers and stuff in. And these are really cute if you haven't seen these at Walmart. Maybe they're a year or 2 old. Remember Walmart used to have the snack baggies that are about this tall? Well, these are the new snack baggies. So they're 5 by 5 on the inside, and they are just perfect and super duper cheap to hold these type elements. Okay, so there's January. That's all we're gonna do today with January. So let's do February, and then I will turn you loose to do the rest of the months on your own, and then we'll come back and do some more decorating together tomorrow. All right, so here's my next one, base page. I am going to put the top on my glue here before I move on. All right. My trimmer, get my February. So this time, I'm not going to do as much talking and just try to walk you through a quicker way to kind of do this. So first step on all these is to cut it straight up the middle at 6 inches. And mine will cut all the way through there. All right, I'll put the left side away. I've got my right side. I'm going to cut that branding strip off the top. Then I'm going to cut that 4x6 card, this is February, off. All right, just like this. Now here's that branding strip. Remember, we're going to use it as a border on that tag, so I know I can go ahead and cut it in half at 3 inches, and I go ahead and have that ready. So there's that. February, I don't have to do anything to until I get to my corner rounding. So remember this, we're going to cut on the right-hand side at 1 1/4 inch. So if you're cutting on the right side, you can do that, but if your trimmer will not allow you to do that, turn it around if you're cutting on the left side and do 1 1/4 inch. Like I said, all of this is in your written instructions. All right. There we go, just like that. So there are those pieces. So now I'm going to go to my left side. So the branding strip is still on. I'm going to do 3 1/4 on the top. Make that cut. And I'm going to take my paper. I'm going to flip it around and do 3 1/4 off the bottom. So then I have these pieces. All right, I'm going to go ahead on this one. This is the top of it. I'm going to flip this over because this is what I'm actually using here. This one, it looks like this. With this, I'm going to put it up to the side because I'm not going to use it until tomorrow's video. So here are the pieces I'm going to be using. So this is the one that we need to make a score line at 3/4 inch on the top. So my trimmer also has a scoring blade. So if yours has that, this is a great time to use it. So you don't have to pull out your scoring board. Just go up to 3/4 inch. And just lightly do a score line. Just be careful on pattern paper that you don't go really hard, because I have done that and cut straight through it. They seem to be, I guess, a little stronger than doing it with the stylus and scoreboard. Okay, so there's that one. So I think that's everything I had to do with the trimmer. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and make my tabs on. Oh, I said I would not do that on this one, didn't I? So here's the cutouts. I've already cut mine out. Here's the template. So here is the ones, you know, I went ahead and cut them out like this. This is what it looks like. So the one at the bottom here is the one that you're going to use. Move this out of the way. Okay. So in January, I wanted my tab here. February, I wanted over here, just for a change. I kind of went back and forth for every other month. You don't have to. I just thought it was a fun change. So you can now, since we have this cut, see how this just lines right up with your paper. You just butt it up to the edge and just trace around it, easy peasy. So I'm just going to flip it over since I want it on the other side for February. I'm going to grab some paper clips. And I'm just going to make sure, it doesn't have to be exact because this is the mat. We're not having to cut something else up. And I'm just going to put a few paper clips on here to kind of hold it still. Take my pencil. I feel like I'm holding my breath, it's funny. All right, and just draw. And let me know if this was helpful, having these templates in here for you. I'm thinking that some people will like to have that, even if you do have the punch board. Or if it's like, no, nobody used it, just let me know. All right, so I'm just gonna take a minute. It's kind of hard to cut and talk at the same time. I'm not sure why. And just kind of cut this out. Just like that, and made a little cutesy little tab. All right, now that I've got my tab made and I have my score line here, I'm going to grab my tape. Go ahead and put my tape on the top as close to the cut edge as possible. Get that off. Burnish it down. All right, and then fold on the score line. Like so. I'm gonna give that a burnish. I'm also going to kind of burnish the top, because you see on pattern paper, sometimes if it's got that pattern, it kind of wants to, I don't know what it is, kind of feather away. And so I just kind of smooth it down, if you see that. Now remember on this one, it's going up here. So at the upper left, I want to go ahead and corner around it. All right. I'm just trying to save time and do all my corner rounding at the same time. Remember, this one's going to go here, so I need to corner around the bottom left. On the front, we've got February. It's going here. So on the right-hand side, I'm corner rounding. And then last but not least, this one that we cut, it's going to go here. So remember, the right side on both of these need to be corner rounded. So see, once you kind of understand where you're going with the project, you can just kind of do all the steps like this at one time. And it is a big time saver. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to grab this little scratch sheet of paper once again so you can see my flap. Black on black is very difficult to see. And once again, I'm not using any ink blending on the side, which is very different from me. I normally do, but I just didn't think it needed it on this project. It's kind of different. There are a lot of things different that you're going to see here. I don't usually try to stretch my paper quite as much as this, because it really took me a few tries to figure out exactly how to use every scrap. It was time consuming, but it was enjoyable. And I'm excited to do a different type of binding with you. So let's go ahead and put this, after we open our flaps, on the inside. Centering from top to bottom, left to right, on I think just about all of these here. So I guess the best part is just to try and keep all your scraps and keep them where you can find them and where you won't get frustrated, so you kind of know, okay, this came from my January, February, or where you can flip through them pretty easily and figure it out. Because that would be not fun, trying to have those few little pieces left and not know which month it went with. All right, so flip this over. Now I have this piece that's going to go on the bottom pocket. And you have to let me know too if this was helpful, of doing it twice, once kind of step by step talking through, and then the second time more like a time saving, you know, doing all the different steps or doing the same steps same time. All right, so once again, we already corner rounded that top left corner, put our tape on. So I've got my hand where the tape is. I don't want it to stick down quite yet until I figure out exactly how I want it to land, side to side, kind of with the pattern paper that's already there. And then kind of about, well, I say 1/8 of an inch, but maybe 1/4 of an inch from the top. And I'm just kind of smoothing this down with my bone folder here. There is a gap you can see between the paper here, but your photo eventually will go there. So now let's work on our tag. These are the only pieces of paper that we have left right now, this and this. But this, I said, just kind of hang on to that for later. Oh, sorry. And then we had this one too that we cut off when we were doing this here. So we have that. Okay, where am I? Okay, so let's make our tag. So this was that branding strip that we cut. This came from that 6x8 paper pad. Uh-oh, put my glue on here, didn't make my mark. Oh no. So I'm gonna make a mark 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. Let's see if I can get it down here quickly enough before it dries. And I'm going to try and get this on straight. Come on. Nope. I don't know if I got it on there quick enough. Let's see. Nope, it's not going to stick. The bottom part anyway. Try again. So it's not just you if things like that happen to. Believe me, I watch crafters and go, man, they make it look so easy. And see, even as I was talking through you, I threw one of my little scraps away that I said, don't throw any scraps away. And I had to go get it out of the garbage. Okay. So, and just butt those up. Now, like I said, later on, we will use stickers and ephemera, and we will come back and we will gussy all of this stuff up. But this is the first coat of paint that we're putting on our books. So now, what you will have, oh, there's my paper back. So I would go through now and do all of your months exactly the same way. Because the paper's laid out the same, it should not be any problem. I didn't do anything different on any of these. And so this is where we will pick up tomorrow. We will make the insert that goes in the pocket. And then as we are cutting that paper, that will then give us some leftovers to use to add some to these pages. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but as we're cutting that up, we're gonna have some leftovers to do more decorating. So, for example, like this one I showed you, January, as we're cutting up some of that paper, you can see here we're gonna have some leftover strips, and see how that color just really helps this pop, just that little bitty 1/4 of an inch strip. And then we'll put the little ephemera piece here. And then on the back, you know, we'll add some ephemera pieces, and we'll use some more of those leftover strips if we so choose to do that. And then we're going to do all of the insert pullouts here, but I already have them all pulled out because I was kind of looking ahead. So this is what we'll do tomorrow. We will make all of our, I forget they flip this way. We'll make all our inserts here. So this is all made the same too, but what I'll do is I'll go through and show you all 12 papers that I used to make this, so that you can do that, because it's not just 12 sheets like the 12 by 12 was. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed today. I love this project. I can't wait to put photos in it, and it's not going to be a pain to figure out where the photos go, because see, it's got specially marked places to put photos here. So here's a 4x6 index card. See how it's just going to fit on there perfectly with a little bit of reveal. All I'm going to do is I'm going to corner around the sides and be ready to go. I don't have to do anything else to it. So there's 1, 2, 3 places for it. And on the back here, I'm going to put another photo, a smaller one. I'll probably take a 4x6 card and cut it down to a 3x4. And then, see, this is exactly 4 wide, but longer than 6. So all you got to do is just trim this down a little bit, and there's another photo and another one. Or you can use it this way and trim it down a bit. You can even put a smaller photo here if you want. So there's lots of different things that we can do. I'm going to stop jabbering and let you go, and I will see you back here tomorrow. If you're enjoying this series, please give me a thumbs up and come back tomorrow, and just make sure all your leftovers that you have like this, you're just keeping in one spot. Like I said, here's my January, here's my February, so that when we come back tomorrow, you will know exactly where all of your leftovers are to continue on with me to make our inserts. Okay, see you back here tomorrow, guys. Bye.